we've got Debbie Dobson, and she's from ISS. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thanks for having me this afternoon. I had a whole little welcome planned, but actually it's all gone to pot because so many things have been talked about today that are relevant to what I'm about to talk about. I'd echo James and Simon earlier that talked about, you know, the overlap of the human that we heard about this morning from Mel and Sarah. So it's just been a really fantastic day to know that we're all so aligned as an industry in the people agenda. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about ISS today and about our journey to building our social mobility proposition to solve for the challenges that we're all facing in the workplace for the future. So as we think about the future of work, and we've touched on this today, but no matter how much we design, automate, optimise or digitise, a workplace just doesn't work without people. A building might be smart, but someone needs to manage it, someone needs to lead inside it, and most importantly, people have to want to belong in that building. So we hear a lot about technological readiness, but the real challenge and the real opportunity lies in human readiness. And that's what we're here today for, because the biggest risk to the future workplace for us isn't just technology, it's access to human potential. And that brings us to the central truth underpinning our approach. Potential exists everywhere, but opportunity does not. Unlocking that opportunity is becoming one of the most critical workforce strategies in our sector. And for ISS, it's become foundational, and that's what I'd like to chat through today. So, I imagine that most of you have heard of ISS, but for those who don't know, we are a global organisation swimming alongside Sodexo as a whale somewhere out there in the ocean. We're in 30 countries with a footprint in 30 more with over 40,000 customers. And it's big numbers. And another big number this year for us is that we're celebrating 125 years as a business. And that's really made us reflect on the impact that we've had over the last 125 years to deliver service and the impact on millions of colleagues and careers from when we started in 1901 with 20 night watchmen in Copenhagen. So we're proud to be one of the world's largest employers. And in the UK, there's around 24,000 of us. And at that scale, we're making an impact and we're shaping career pathways and skills, talent pipelines, and access to opportunity. When you operate with this footprint, every decision from how we attract, source, select, and vet candidates, to how we design apprenticeships, to how we develop careers, those decisions become a lever that can open doors, shift trajectories, and ultimately even influence the labour market far beyond our own organisation and for the greater good. And this is powerful because it means we can either unintentionally preserve existing barriers or intentionally remove them. And when we remove them, something remarkable happens. We don't just shape roles, we shape our business, we shape the future, we shape belonging, and we shape lives. And that's why social mobility for us cannot be an extra. It can't sit off to the side as philanthropy. At our scale, it becomes workforce strategy and future of work strategy. And therein lies the question of where will the workforce of the future actually come from. So potential exists everywhere and opportunity does not. And this slide says it quite plainly. Potential is universal. Social mobility is about widening access to all opportunities, especially for people who face barriers that traditional talent approaches overlook or even reinforce. And here's the challenge. Traditional talent practices, CVs, references, in a nutshell, they're experience-first criteria. And they were created in different times. And if we're truly honest, these practices reward polish over potential, networks over capability, confidence over competence, and familiarity over diversity. And even some of the smartest AI will only replicate that experience-first approach. So at ISS, we realised if we kept searching for and developing the same talent in the same way, we would keep missing the talent we need. When we broadened our partnerships, working with organisations that support disability groups, refugees, youth employment and homelessness, we saw the issue instantly. And the issue isn't a lack of talent. The issue is a lack of access. It's a lack of pathways, and it's a lack of imagination to still be working in those traditional ways. And even inside ISS, in our own organisation, we could see potential everywhere in colleagues who are hungry for development but blocked by old ways of working or lack of visibility and accessibility to opportunities. So we made a decision. Social mobility wouldn't be part of the strategy, it would be the strategy. Our vision is simple and powerful. We build futures by widening access to opportunity through ISS and beyond ISS. This represents a shift from thinking about jobs to thinking about journeys, from thinking about hiring to thinking about progression, and from thinking about just our organisation to thinking about the ecosystem we influence. And we look at this in two layers. Firstly, within ISS, where ISS becomes a platform that develops its people from entry-level roles into skilled roles and from skilled roles into leadership. We create pathways that didn't exist before. We build future facilities managers from the front line, from grassroots up. We don't find talent, we grow it. And the second layer is around beyond ISS, because our scale gives us reach far beyond our organisation. So every partnership we form, every levy pound we gift, every supported placement programme we run expands opportunity into the broader labour market. So, in other words, we don't just create opportunities for ISS, we create opportunities through ISS. And this is what it means when we talk about widening the gateway. So, our mission is to make progress possible for people who face barriers to opportunity. Not as a programme, but as a principle. This is a shift in mindset because it means that this isn't something that we offer occasionally. It's something we've committed to and we're embedding into how we hire, how we assess, how we vet, how we develop, how our leaders behave. And this is how we're turning our mission into a reality. Transforming ad hoc behaviours into established process, bringing local actions to a nationwide business, and changing the impossible into the possible. That's why today we're proud to be launching Mission Possible at ISS as we connect people to possibility. We call this approach Mission Possible because that's exactly what it does. It makes progress, real meaningful progress, possible. It connects people to possibility. 2 years ago, some of what we were doing felt ambitious, maybe even impossible. But when you commit to a principle instead of just a programme, things begin to shift and movement begins to happen. People begin to see what they didn't see before. People start opening doors that we didn't used to notice. Clients join you not because they have to, but because they see and can feel the impact. And soon, what once felt impossible becomes the norm. It becomes repeatable, scalable, and expected. And this is the journey we're on at ISS. We haven't got all the answers, it's early days for us, but I would like to show you a few examples of the impact and outputs that we've had so far. And this is really in our intentional work, particularly over the last year or so. So 3 pillars on here. I'll start with the first one, building skilled futures at scale. So we have over 500 apprenticeships at any time, and we're achieving a 50-50 gender split across all our apprenticeships. And in fact, in 2025, we doubled our apprenticeship numbers with really intentional focus areas. A focus on apprenticeships in critical specialist skills such as engineering, where we know, we've talked about it today, there's a challenging labour market, there's an ageing workforce, and it creates a real risk to our business operations. It's not just about early careers apprentices either, but again about how do we widen access, how do we think about the older generation and retention of engineers. We've partnered with the Women's Engineering Society to open the gateway to technical roles. And the result, we have an increase of 75 colleagues right now on our technical career path. It's been a significant investment for the business, but one that will future-proof and de-risk our workplace future by building our technical talent pipeline. Another example is our focus on data. As FM becomes more data-driven, and how much have we talked about that today, we can't afford to wait for the skills to appear. We have to build them. So the result, we've got 90 colleagues who are now developing advanced data and analytics capability through our data apprenticeships, strengthening our ability to turn information into improved performance and client value. And from a leadership perspective, and we've touched on the future of leaders today as well, we offer bespoke apprenticeships, building our future leaders from backgrounds less well represented at leadership levels, such as women and those from minority ethnic backgrounds. The result has been 80 colleagues who are on those leadership apprenticeships, with new cohorts being launched this year, building our leadership talent pipeline for the future. And that's just in 1 year and just in ISS. So as a sector, imagine what we could achieve if there was real intentional focus in these areas. And this is how we build the workforce for the future. The other piece that that I'm going to touch on is around opening doors that others close. To bring that to life, in 2025, we hired over 300 hires from disadvantaged backgrounds, be that the homeless, disabled groups, veterans or refugees. We challenge vetting requirements with clients where proof of work or proof of accommodation is a barrier to employment. And we partner brilliantly with one client to reduce some of those barriers and to widen those opportunities. And the result, 9 individuals who are no longer homeless, who have a secure job and who have a stable housing. We provide supported work experience placements for young people with disabilities. The result, we now have an 80% conversion rate into employment from those placements. And this is what happens when you shift the question from can we to how can we. And finally, investing beyond our walls. We gifted 1.6 million of apprenticeship levy in 2025, but we have a gifting strategy and we align it to our strategic focus areas. So we gift to organisations who deliver services to disadvantaged young people, disability groups and supporting the homeless, because we understand that the future workforce is shaped long before someone even thinks of applying for a job, let alone applying for a job with ISS. So we don't just want to build a workforce, we want to build the conditions that allow the future workforce to emerge. And this isn't philanthropy, it is building the workforce the future needs. So why this matters for workplace futures? When you widen access to opportunity, over time something extraordinary happens. Engagement increases because people feel invested in. Retention strengthens because people see a future. Skills shortages shrink because you grow capability. Leadership becomes more representative. Innovation flourishes because thinking diversifies. Organisational resilience increases because your talent base deepens. Ultimately, you create a workforce ready for the future. And we've talked today about whether AI will change everything, and we know technology will shape the workplace, but here's the thing, people will determine whether it works. The organisations that will thrive in the next decade will not be the ones with the smartest buildings, but the ones with the broadest access to human potential as well as those smart buildings. The question is not where do we find the talent, it's how do we remove the barriers to the talent that already exists. Because the future of work will be decided by the organisations that choose to widen the gateway and dismantle the barriers. So, in summary, as we think about the workplaces of tomorrow, I would encourage all of us in this room and beyond these walls when we leave today in our sector to widen the gateway, not just because we can, but because we should. Our clients expect more, our colleagues expect more, and society expects more. The organisations that will lead are those that understand the fundamental truth that the future workplace is built by people, and the organisations that understand that and act on it will build the strongest futures of all. And that, for ISS, is Mission Possible. Thank you.